Hello everyone, I'm Chol. Today I will show you about the Linux file system management. Okay, for this video there are two parts. The part one will focus on file system management with 4 chapters, and the part two will focus on how to use the new file system with 4 chapters like this. Okay, chapter 1, file system management process. First one, in this video, I have this kind of objective. If you complete this unit, you should be able to, first one, how to manage the virtual memory and how to add new drives and partitions. And after that, after create new partitions using the drives, then how to mount this kind of file system. And after that, how to use the new file system. Number 2, overview, adding new file systems to the file system tree. So here, first one, identify the device. If we want to use the new hard disk, then normally this kind of hard disk will have this kind of name in Linux system, DVHDA or DVSDA. If we have add one more hard disk, then we'll have DVHDB or DVSDB like this. Partition device to create new partition. Normally we can use this kind of command, fdisk, sfdisk, or gnuparted or partflow like this. After we create this kind of new partitions, then we need to create file system using this kind of command, mkfs, ext3, ext4, or prepare like this. And the label file system, normally the file system must have their own name. We call it the label, and using it label and tune to fs, we can create this kind of names. And if we are successful to create a new partition with a name, then we need to register this kind of new partition to etc/fs tab. So here we have to define exact the mount point mount fs secret like this. Number 6, the mount new file system. And after that, if we want to use this new file system, then we can use this kind of command mount or umount. Chapter 2, device recognition. First one, if we turn on the computer, normally the BIOS will work, and this BIOS has a list of devices to start operating system using or CD or hard disk or USB like this. If we just select the hard disk, then this hard disk has the first sector of the first cylinder at hard disk. We call this one master boot record. In short, we call just the MBR. And the MBR has some informations. First, executable code to load operating system. We call it the bootloader. And the Linux system normally support graph as a default bootloader program. And the C is space for partition table informations. And if we want to create the new partitions, we must have this kind of information. First one, hard disk type. There are 2 types, HDA, HDB, or SDA or SDB. In case of the hard disk type is the IDE, then the Linux system will recognize as HDA the first hard disk, and the second hard disk will be HDB. In case of SCAR or SATA, then will be SDA or SDB. Partition type, there are many partition types the Linux system support. For example, Linux swap, Linux, LVM, RAID, or those like this. Partition type has 3 kinds, the primary, the extended, and the logicals. And each partition has each their size, and this kind of size consists of like sectors, blocks, and cylinders. In this video, we normally use the cylinders. And the starting cylinder for partitions, and using this kind of cylinder, we can start the partitions. And normally the one cylinder is about 8 megabytes. And each partition has their own the numbers of the cylinders. So when we create a new partition, we have to decide exact number of cylinders. Chapter disk partitions. And the Linux system and the Unix and Windows as well, there are three kind of partition type: primary, extended, and the logical. Primary normally only the support 4 partitions per drive. And the logical is a kind of the one of primary, and this one includes all logical partitions. And the logical partitions permit the definition of more than 4 partitions. In case we want the partition over 4, in this case, we need to use the logical partitions. Total maximum number, normally in case of ID, the maximum is 63, and the SCSI or SATA, then the maximum will be the 15. Number 3, why partition drive 4 containment for the security concept and the performance. In this case, maybe the keeping the error together with the reduced disk had the sick, and the quartiles using the specific file partitions. In the next part, I will upload the advanced Linux file system. In this part, I will explain the quota as well. And for the recovery, file system backup or recovery, then we need to create more partitions than one partition. And number 4, managing partitions here, create partition using. So to create partition, we can use this kind of command. First one, fdisk, and the second, sfdisk, and the parted or gparted. Gparted is the graphical, the parted. And after that, we need to read the file. This file normally has the information, each the partitions which the kernel can read. So after we create a new partition, we need to leave it to let the kernel read this new partition table. But if we use this command, we don't need to reboot. So we can use like this part proof or kpartx as well. It's similar to the part proof. Okay, then let's try to use this one. Okay, first, let's try to use system tools. I already installed gparted, the partition editor here. Okay, click. If you want to use this one, you have to install okay, this one. You install gparted like this. I already installed this one, so if you are successful to install here, you can find the graphical, the partition tables. Okay, let's use this one first. Now I have the last partition is the HD7, so here I will try to make one more partition using gparted. So click here. Now I have around 10 GB unallocated. So here the partition new, then the free space listing might be here, the total is 1. So here will around 1 GB, and the partition label will be data, and this one file system now unformatted, and this partition will belong to logical partitions. Okay, add. So now this one unformatted. So let's try to format. Format to, I will use ext4. So now this one is a formatted as a ext4 file system. And after that, here edit, apply all operations, apply. But here I found some errors like this. Okay, close. I think so here I have the unknown file system here. So let's try to use to again format to ext4. So this one, and after that edit, apply. But already the error messages. So I think that if you use the physical devices with this G party, then you will not meet this kind of error message. In my case, now I'm using this one on the VMware. So I think this kind of messages. Again, okay, and after that, often quit. Okay, so then try to use fdisk. Now dvsda. Okay, P. So I have now the 8 like this. So in my case, let's try to use new partition N, and the first cylinder will be, now the last cylinder is this one. So first cylinder must be 14113. And the last cylinder plus 1000 megabyte. This one will be around 1 gigabyte. Okay, P. So now this one SDA, SDA8, and this one SDA9 like this. And after that, T. If we want to change the file system type here, then we can use T. Okay, T, and number will be 9. And after that, L. Then we can see many kind of system, the types, the file system type. So here, normally 83 is a Linux file system. So here 83. Okay, P. Then we can see here like this. And after that, if we are the complete to create a new partition, then W. W means the write. Okay, and after that, fdisk -l dv sda. So now we can see SDA and SDA9 like this. And after that, path proof. And one more thing, k part x -a dv v SDA. So now just we can see this kind of messages. So, and after that, I think, again, path proof. I think that if you are using the physical devices, for example, like SDB on the physical device, not the virtual devices, then you will be successful to read the partitions from, okay, here. Okay, so now just the kernel can read only until SDA7. So now kernel cannot read SDA5, SDA8, and SDA9. Okay, like this. Okay, sfdisk dvsda. So same. Now sfdisk can read SDA8, SDA9 as a new partition. So now we want to use here, okay, next one. Now we are successful to create a new partition, two partitions, SDA8, SDA9. Then next, the process to create file system using this one, mkfs or mk2fs like this. So if we want to create the file system like this, mkfs-t, the file system type will be ext4, and the partition number will be dvsda8 or sda9 like this. Or number 2, the mke2fs. So here we can use this kind of options. Here J, L, and the block size, and inode, and the partition number like this. So here the J mean the journaling file system, and the L mean the file system label, and the B mean the block size. I mean inode per every 4 kilobyte for disk space like this. We can use this one as well. Okay, then try to, and after that we will use the E2 label like this. Okay, then here let's try to use, okay, first fdisk -l dvsda. So let's try to mkfs-t ext4 dvsda first 8. So here, but could not state no such file because proc this one. Kernel must read this new partition, but now the kernel cannot read it. So in this case, we have two solutions. First one, path proof, but path proof here does not work. So in this case, we need to reboot so that kernel can read new partitions. Okay, let's try to reboot. Okay, now I'm successful to the reboot. Okay, F disk LDB SDA. So now there are two more partitions, SDA and SDA9. So okay, check partitions. So here we can find SDA8 and SDA9. So now let's try to the format. This was MKFS ext4 db SDA8. So now this is the process to format this file system. And one more thing, mk2 mke e2fs -j l data -b block size and inode this one and dv sda9. So process, okay, yes. So now I create and the format to the file system F disk SDA. So now this two SD8, SD9 is formatted. So in the next part, I will explain how to create the label for each the new partitions and how to mount and use. Okay, see you next video.